Hello, and thanks for taking a few minutes to learn more about the integration between Trimble Construction One's Vista and Hilti's OnTrack. Be sure to reach out to us if after this session you have further questions or want more information about getting started with the integration. Broadly speaking, with the integration, we are connecting the tracking, visibility, and utilization capabilities of OnTrack with the back office of Vista to improve efficiencies and provide better accountability and cost details. Tool and equipment data properly set up in Vista flows into OnTrack where all tool movements are tracked and recorded. That data then flows back into Vista for you to review and create transactions that will charge equipment usage to the job. Looking a little bit closer at the touch points between Vista and OnTrack for the integration, employees will flow from Vista to OnTrack. Jobs and equipment locations will flow from Vista to OnTrack as locations. Equipment items will flow from Vista to OnTrack as assets. And vice versa, you can take assets from OnTrack and have those come back into Vista as equipment items. And then lastly, transfer and transfer data as it's captured in OnTrack will flow back into Vista as equipment location transfers. All right, with that, let's jump into a demo where we can actually see this in action. Okay, so I'm starting out in Vista, looking at my list of jobs in Vista. I'm also looking at my equipment management locations here in Vista. And I said earlier, those all flow into OnTrack into the locations. So as I look down my list, they come in as one of two types. You can see my warehouse or my EM locations. And if I scroll down the list here, I can see job site. So they'll come in either as a job site for jobs or as a warehouse for my EM locations. If I come back into Vista, I want to highlight one in particular. So it's this 20241, the Southeast Water Avenue Complex. So here I see it open and active in Vista. If I was to come back over into OnTrack, I actually created a filter here so we can see this a little bit more clearly. You can see I have a job site, Southeast Water Avenue Complex. The thing I want to point out is this custom location ID or location ID. It's the same, 20241-00. So that's how I know that this is linked up or connected up with my active job in Vista. Similarly, if I look at my locations, my equipment management locations, I have this SEPDX or Southeast Portland Warehouse. Again, as I come back into OnTrack, I've got this filtered, but that's come in as a warehouse, Southeast Portland Warehouse. And again, that code, SEPDX. So that's really quickly how I can tell that these are the two, these are the things that are linked up between the two solutions. All right, let's take a look at the equipment. So if I jump back over into Vista, I've got pulled up here my list of equipment items. I'm set up to integrate with OnTrack, so this same list of equipment items from Vista is also populating my assets in OnTrack. So each of these is linked up with the Vista companion. To make this a little bit easier to look at, I've gone ahead and created a set of Hilti items that we can look at a little bit further. So I'm filtering down on an equipment code ID. And I'll do the same on the OnTrack side. So I've got about 9 items there. I've got a view that I've filtered that represent the same 9 items. So a couple things I wanted to highlight. So if I jump into Vista, we've got the equipment code ID. So if I pick on number 6 here, it's a cordless circular saw. We've got a serial number, we've got a make, we've got a model. I want to show that that corresponds to that same item in Hilti. So here is that circular saw. We track the equipment ID code as the inventory number, so that same HIL 1006. We also pull in the manufacturer and model as part of that, as well as the description. And here you can see I've been set up as the default for the responsible employee. So between these two solutions now, as they're integrated, as I create that item in Vista, it will flow through into OnTrack and it'll grab that key information and bring that along. For employees, the story is very similar. So if I jump back into Vista and I bring up my list of employees, so here I've got an employee ID, the last name, the first name. When this is now integrated with OnTrack, those employees will show up on the employee list. I've got more employees in OnTrack than I do in Vista, but as I scroll through and I'll highlight Natasha Romanoff, you can see this is coming out of company 201. This is employee number 19, the name of the employee, as well as the email. And if I look real quickly, that all tracks back with the Vista entry as well. And so these solutions, again, as are tied out with employees, that information will flow from Vista into OnTrack, bringing along key bits of information. Okay, then the last piece I wanted to show is the transfer and how that data shows up in Vista. So I'm going to go ahead and go back to my assets. Let me flip to my set of demo assets. And the reason I want to take you here is I've got these 9 items and the current location, I've transferred those out to this job, the Southeast Water Avenue complex. And as soon as I do that, what happens in the background is we'll take and we'll grab that information and we'll feed it into the EM location transfer for Vista. So here you can see those same 9 items from this job cost company were transferred to this job description. It gives you a date, it gives you a timestamp. And now as those items are out there, they will come back at some point and that information will be captured here, and then you can use that as part of the equipment utilization as it takes into job cost and the job billings. Okay, now that we've seen it in action, let's talk a little bit about what it means to get onboarded with the integration. Typically, we'll start off with a kickoff call where you and I will get together. We'll review a deck very similar to this. We'll go into even a little bit more detail about the integration and the touch points. I have some activity whereby I create a space in our integration platform, connect to your Vista, to your OnTrack. And then in the middle there's a step that we've talked about a little bit during this session about data reconciliation and mapping. That's you and I working together. We look at what data exists in both solutions. Is there commonalities? Do we want to map those up and make sure we have those accounted for before we turn this on? And then really it's about configuring and going live, last couple of steps and activities before we enable this. And then ongoing, you and I will stay in touch about how it's going, feedback, etc. as we go with the integration. There are a couple of requirements around this. We've got some minimum versions. So for Vista, it's Trimble Construction One, TC1 Vista, an active subscription of that. So you're in the cloud, as well as Hilti's OnTrack Pro Plus. If you're unsure of where you're at, just definitely reach out to your Trimble or Hilti representative. The integration doesn't cost anything. If you're running those versions, this is available to you. And definitely reach out to myself, and there's my contact information, Aaron Jost, or my counterpart, Kieran Panaka, and there's our emails. We'd love to hear from you to get you started or answer any questions that you have. And again, thank you for taking the time to take a look at the integration. We hope to work with you in the future.